Dr. Howser, some people believe that children who are mental giants become emotionally crippled adults. Would you care to respond?
I don't have any emotional problems.
Yeah, right.
No, my situation may be a little different. Okay, I'll admit that getting a medical degree at such an early age may have downscaled my social life, but now that I've achieved certain goals, I plan on easing up a little bit.
Yeah, I had the same delusions of normalcy when I was 19, too.
The older you get, the more obsessed you get. It comes with the territory of being a genius.
Bingo.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, come on, Doctor. You love being the best. There are two things that won't allow you to let up, the world and your ego.
What do you mean, the world?
You, all of you. You're never satisfied. You expect us to sacrifice everything to stay on top, and then if we don't, you act as if we let you down.
He's right. All day long I hear, Sundari must practice. Sundari must not have boyfriend. Sundari must always wake her up. Sundari fed up to hear.
Will you shut up? You're giving me a headache.
Excuse me, Jenny?
Yes.
Well, I thought geniuses were people you were supposed to admire, but, well, you all seem a little crazy to me.
Well, I'm not crazy, ma'am. I happen to be a very normal person.
Shut up, Dr. Boy.
Hey, Stingling's right. You're no different than we are.
I'm very different.
Now, come on. We're all lunatics.
What are you calling a lunatic? I'm no lunatic. You're the lunatic.
I'm not a lunatic. I happen to be a doctor.
Oh, sure. Like there's no such thing as crazy doctors.
I resent that remark.
What are you going to do, beat me up?
Oh, what's going on down there, Jenny?
This is
Maybe I
pathetic.
should say no.
Child prodigies, gifted or cursed. More when we come back.
Am I still on?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special podcast. This is the podcast where we watch all your favorite shows from yesteryear and then rediscuss them on this medium of a podcast. I'm Patrick M. Dunn. You probably remember me from the previous 35 episodes or so. And I'm joined here via satellite with Kat Halstead, the author.
Hello.
You may know her from the other episodes. Anyway, she is now relocated to Colorado?
Yes, I am in Colorado.
What's the weather like out there?
Well, it's cold, but it's not bundle up in 20 layers cold like it would be in Minnesota. This morning I spent, even though it was 40-something degrees outside, I spent most of the morning outside playing with my nephews, so
it's like sweatshirt
pretty
weather?
nice. Yeah, it's kind of like sweatshirt weather.
Maybe a vest? An Old Navy vest?
Yeah, kind of like that. I just had a really, thin sweatshirt on.
Okay. Are you in the valley?
So. I'm kind of in a valley. I'm sort of.
Okay.
There's mountains all around me.
Mountains. Oh, yeah, so I guess that's the definition of a valley, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this, we made it through Thanksgiving.
Woo!
What a holiday it was.
Exactly. All that food. Oh, my God.
And on our website, what's our website? A very special podcast.tumblr.com. We have all kinds of Thanksgiving-y type posts.
That is our website.
Yeah, we kind of spruced it up.
Yeah. We did a quick little makeover.
Facelift. We did a little nip tucking of the site. It was a little we had this great idea a year and a half ago to make it kind of GeoCities-esque, but that ultimately ended up just not working the way we wanted it to.
It just didn't translate well to blog style.
And then our audio post came out funny. We just could never figure it out. So
Yeah, I'm glad we found a layout that like works the way we want it to work.
and now we promise that we'll actually like post stuff to it. We'll try anyway.
Hey, there were a lot of Thanksgiving blogs.
Like that specify around Thanksgiving.
We were doing okay.
Like there's specific Thanksgiving blogs out there.
Yeah, there's specific blogs about like Thanksgiving TV shows and movies. Do you not read our website, Patrick?
Does it operate all year round though?
Yes, the website does operate all year round.
The Thanksgiving blogs?
No, the Thanksgiving posts will be up all year round.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like talking about there's Thanksgiving blogs out there. I was just like I could see like a year-round Halloween or like a year-round Christmas blog.
Actually, who knows? There might be a year-round Thanksgiving blog. You never know, Patrick. You just never know.
That if not, we should start it.
We'll just add that to our list of things we're going to start.
Kind of like a lifestyle blog that just focuses all around Thanksgiving.
It's just all about Thanksgiving. It'll be the 4th of July. We'll be telling you how to bake perfect turkey for Thanksgiving.
Like secret cranberry sauce recipes and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Actually,
Exactly.
speaking of cranberry sauce, I'm actually drinking cranberry juice mixed with whiskey and vodka.
Oh, that sounds good.
It actually is pretty good. It's a maple flavored whiskey and a regular flavored vodka, and it's cran grape, I believe. So it's kind of like a mishmash of flavors.
Yeah.
Because I guess one of our specialties of this podcast is that I usually drink through it.
Yeah, you're definitely the one who is usually always drunk.
I think the last couple you've sat out.
Yes, I'm sitting out again. There is no alcohol in this house right now, so
Okay.
I'm just drinking Coca-Cola and water.
Coca-Cola and water together?
Yeah, well, not like together. I have both.
Like in two separate glasses.
Yes, two separate things. I have a can of Coca-Cola and I have a water bottle full of water.
All right, that makes sense.
It's delicious because it's from my parents' well.
Oh, well water. I got well water, and it's fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
It's got that nice,
It is amazing. It is like the best water I've ever had.
that earthy taste.
It just has a nice clean flavor.
And you probably get that crazy Colorado water too. Did I say your state right?
Yes.
Uh,
Considering we are in Colorado, the well is in Colorado. The water comes from the well in Colorado. It's Colorado water.
is it known for being great?
Here's the thing about water. It all depends on where you are and, like, the minerals in the earth near where your water comes from and the way it's processed.
Okay.
That really affects it. Like, the water that we had in Minnesota was disgusting.
It was probably like shitty, muddy Mississippi River water.
It was just awful water. I hated it. Like, we had a major filter system going on to make it, like, drinkable.
Did it have like a carbon taste to it?
It had, like, it was just a weird taste that was not pleasant, and it was kind of like a hard water. So you get that, like, buildup of calcium.
Have you ever gone to a
bottom
restaurant and
like-
you had bad ice? Did it taste like bad ice?
Yeah, kind of.
Where do you think where is the best water in the world? Like the greatest tasting water, the right mixture of minerals.
Wherever the Fuji water comes from.
Is Fuji?
You know, the F-U-G-J-I,
Yeah.
that water, the water in the square bottles, that is amazing water.
Let me look this up. Fuji water. Let me just see like if it actually is
You've
made
never
of
had
Fuji.
Fuji water?
Is it Fiji or Fuji?
It's expensive.
Fiji?
Fuji, F-U-J-I.
It's shipped from. No, it's Fiji. F-I-J-I.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
You're thinking of like Lauryn Hill and Wyclef.
getting everything mixed up. My brain is just totally fried.
All right, so Fiji water.
All I know how to do anymore is play cars with my nephew.
All right, so Fiji water is headquartered in Los Angeles, but the water is derived, bottled, and shipped from Fiji.
Yeah, it's amazing water.
Okay, and it's only been around since 1996.
Yeah.
And okay, I had this vision that it was around forever.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen those bottles around forever, but I guess for us, going as far back to 1996 kind of is forever.
Yeah, I mean, I was only like 13 or something, 14 at the time. 15, I can't do math.
You were 15.
I was 15 at the
going on
time.
15.
Depending on which month it was revealed.
Yeah.
It actually was originally called Nature's Best. But then they changed... Oh, hold on. This is where... Alright. Fiji as Fiji water was started in 1996. But before that it was around. And it was called Natural Waters, then Nature's Best. So it's been around longer, but as Fiji, it's only been around since 1996. So maybe they kept the same shape, but they just changed the sticker on it?
Yeah, probably.
All right. This is the chemical type of... The pH balance is a 7.8. The calcium level is 18 milligrams. Magnesium levels are 14 milligrams. The silica, I don't know how to say that word, is 91 milligrams. So that's how you make... That's the recipe for perfect water right there. World.
There you go.
All right, so...
Find that pH level, people.
Not only do you listen to me blabber as a drunken fool and learn about... Well, and hear about TV shows, you will also learn how natural artesian water is made.
We are so weird.
Oh, yes. I'm sure this is like... People have already shut this episode off.
They're like, what the hell are they talking about? Where's the Doogie Howser?
We'll get to Doogie Howser, but I mean, we try to be... we try to branch out and, talk about what comes up. That's part of the fun of the podcast.
Yeah, we have that little banter like you get on a morning talk show.
Yeah, right before
Kelly
we play...
and Michael have.
Right before we go into like a Led Zeppelin song, we'll jab, we'll jive. Mm-hmm. Right before weather and traffic on the 3s.
On the 3s, it's on the 10s.
I guess it depends on. I don't know.
I think it depends on your station.
Yeah, probably. Well, they probably try to stagger it.
Yeah.
All right. So
probably.
If you read the description of this episode, you will see that it's Doogie Howser.
Doogie!
And we decided to pick the last episode of Doogie Howser to talk about. The very last episode. I believe it's called
doing our first finale.
What Makes Doogie Run?
Is that what it's called?
Yes. It aired on March 24th in 1993. It was the 22nd episode of Season 4 and the 97th episode of Doogie Howser. So it just hit that syndication point.
Oh, man. It was just 3 short of the 100.
Yeah. But, I mean, it was syndicated, and I believe it's still on somewhere in the world.
It is on an Antenna ET.
And Hulu.
Antenna TV, I believe. Wow, that was a tongue twister. Shouldn't have been.
And Hulu...
I think it's on that. And Hulu has it, yeah. So I don't remember ever seeing Doogie Howser, reruns after the show ended.
I know, the way you would see episodes of Friends or Seinfeld or Everybody Loves Raymond.
Or Cheers, or Three's Company. Yeah, I don't remember really ever seeing it get that kind of play. But, it could have been on when we were, at school, and we just never would have known.
Yeah, and you know what? It might have, they might have, right when the show ended, they probably put it back out there, but maybe it didn't do that well, and it just kind of faded out.
Yeah.
But I think there's a bit of...
It just kind of ran its course and just didn't stick.
I believe there's a bit of continuity to the show. Like, some episodes lead into others.
Yeah, I think it's definitely more serial. Where you kind of like gotta kind of pay attention to what's going on each episode to know what's going. You can't just jump in.
Yeah, so that's probably one reason why it wasn't syndicated that well.
Yeah, probably.
It's kind of like 30 Rock is kind of like that, and it was out in syndication, but it just doesn't work. The Office is like that too a little bit.
Yeah, there's just certain shows that just don't work well for syndication. Just because you reach that 100 episodes, which is like the sweet spot, doesn't mean you're going to work well for syndication.
Yeah, so this is a single camera show. The camera set up a single camera, so it's a half hour long, but it's not a straight up sitcom.
No, it's not. It is a dramedy.
Is it like the first well-known dramedy that's ever been on, or has there been others before this?
I think it is. I think it is the first like real dramedy.
So, like, because there's comedic elements, but things get real very quickly.
Yeah, things. Well, when you have a young teenager who is a doctor, things are going to have to get real.
Yeah. All right. So let's rewind a little bit. So what the basic premise of Doogie Howser? So he had childhood leukemia when he was like a real young child.
Yes, he had it twice, and he survived.
He had it twice?
Yes.
Oh,
he had it went into remission, or whatever the term is, and then it came back.
Okay. And his father's a doctor?
They talk about that. Yeah, his father's a doctor. They talk about that in this episode, how he was sick, he got better, and they thought everything was going to be okay, but then it came back. And that was kind of when he feels he lost his childhood.
Okay, so
because that was when they did the whirlwind trip to Florida to see Disney World and whatever other attractions are down there. And then he started on the path to, one, recovery, and two, when he did recover, being the genius that is Doogie Howser, MD.
Was he always smart, or did the cancer make him smart?
I think he was always smart. He had, what did it say? He's naturally a genius with an eidetic memory.
Okay.
So, and when he was 6, he got a perfect score on the SATs. He finished high school in 9 weeks. And at the age of 9, he graduated from Princeton. He graduated from Princeton at the age of 10.
All right, so he graduated high school at age 9, but then a year later he graduated Princeton, and then went to medical school for 4 years.
Yeah.
So
he became the youngest licensed doctor in the country at 14.
So as soon as he started getting pubic hair, he was in residency.
Yeah.
All right, so
how terrifying would that be?
I have thought about this.
For like emergency, and this 14-year-old kid is your doctor.
I have thought about this.
Terrify you?
I have thought about this in depth the last few days since I watched this episode, because I haven't seen this show in a real ass long time, and I was probably younger than Doogie Howser is in like this episode, or even when the show began. Like when I watched this, so I was probably like 10 years old when the show came out. Not even, probably.
No, not even. We were like 8. So
Doogie Howser was probably like 14, and in my mind, like 14 just seemed really old, so I never had a problem with it.
When you're young, it seems like really, really old and really grown up and really mature, and then, no.
So I never thought of, like, I just thought it was kind of strange that someone who's 14 is a doctor. But now when you're 34 and someone is 14 and they're a doctor, let's just say, like, all right, so let's just say I don't know, I stepped on a nail today, and I had to go to the emergency room. Can you imagine if, like, a 14-year-old kid came into the examining room?
I'd be like, oh, hell no, get me a grown-up.
I think, like, you would have to have, like, a nurse come in and be like, all right, we have a 14-year-old kid. He's a super genius. He has eidetic memory. He like survived.
He's like the best doctor on the staff.
Yeah.
Or do you want like the old guy who's we think he's a doctor, he has paperwork that says he's a doctor.
I'd probably be like, you know what, I'll take the orderly that's always in the show.
Yeah. Just send in the orderly, or where's the hot younger doctor guy?
Yeah, or
regular age guy.
Or like, you know what, I'll just like have Robin Lively. She can do shots, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think almost every shot I've had is given by a nurse.
Yeah, like real doctors don't give shots. So it's like, you know what, I'll take Robin Lively. She's the nurse, Nurse Spaulding. She's age appropriate to be a nurse. Just send her on in, like have her giving me my tetanus shot.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're just going to say no to the 14-year-old because it kind of freaks us out.
But he works in an emergency room, I guess, because he's always like around crazy ass medical situations.
Yeah, I think he's stationed. He's in the emergency room, but because he has a trauma surgery fellowship, so he's like he's one of the trauma team doctors.
Yeah, so he's always he's always dealing with like gunshots or really bad car accidents, or someone falls off a roof, or gang violence maybe.
Yeah, yeah, like all the like crazy, ridiculous stuff that happens.
And
he's one of those doctors.
Yeah, so like maybe like other doctors just don't want to deal with that shit, so they're like, you know what, let's just have that young hip doctor do it.
Well, that was the specialty he chose.
Okay. All right, do you know what I'm reading here that's really interesting?
Craziness.
All right, so in the opening credits of Doogie Howser, they show a newspaper like clipping, and it says he can't buy beer, but he can prescribe drugs.
Oh my god, can I just tell you that the Doogie Howser theme song is probably one of my top 5 theme songs?
It's kind of like a piano little like do 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 do, like a synthesizer.
Yeah. I love the Doogie Howser. Like, there's something about it that just like makes me feel good.
And it has that.
I hear it and I'm like, I can forget all the stupid shit going on in my life. I feel good when I hear the Doogie Howser theme song.
You just fall into his world.
Like, I just know that everything's going to be okay because Doogie Howser.
He made it through.
Even though I would not actually want Doogie as my doctor.
Well, I mean, Doogie Howser now, like if he's still out there teaching medicine, I'd probably be okay with it.
Yeah, if like 44-year-old Doogie Howser or whatever was a doctor, I'd be totally down.
All right, this is a good transition in because, all right, so this episode, What Makes Doogie Run? It starts off with a clip of the Jenny Jones Show, like the old talk show from the early 90s. Well, pretty much all the 90s, basically.
Yeah, it was like 91 to 2003. I did not realize it lasted that long.
I didn't realize it either, but it just kept going for a while. So,
yeah, I had no clue it was still on after the incident.
Which we'll get to in a moment. And I have a funny story behind that. So, we'll just kind of give a quick overlay of how this episode opens. So, there's a topic on that episode of the Jenny Jones Show, which is, I guess, just like, child prodigies, teenage wonders.
Prodigies, all grown up. And it was kind of one of those things where it showed how does their genius as a child manifest as an adult. And those were some messed up people.
All right, so there was one girl, she was an Asian girl who was like a musician. She played the violin, and she kind of like, her father was basically like Tiger Woods' father and just made her practice all the time.
Yeah, like that's her entire life is practicing the violin.
She's really good at it. I think she even plays a few notes.
Yeah.
And then her only lines were, I just practice till I become perfect. She just like says the same thing over and over again.
Oh, That would be so frustrating.
Then there was another guy who was now in jail.
Yeah, the criminal guy.
What was his superpower?
I have no clue what his genius was. I think it was probably like some sort of numbers business kind of thing, and he made a scam and got busted.
He was kind of like the original Ponzi scam, maybe.
Yeah, he's probably like a Ponzi scammer guy.
They just quickly brushed over him.
So smart he wouldn't get caught, so of course he got caught.
And then there was another guy who was a lot older, and he was just kind of
he was the chess master, and he was angry.
He hated his life. He's kind of like the Bobby Fischer, I guess.
Kind of, yeah. And he like would only sit on his own chair, so he brought his own chair to the show.
And then there was Doogie Howser, who was the youngest of them all. So he was kind of like
youngest and the most normal.
And the most normal, like at that moment in time, though. So he was kind of at the crossroads.
Because he's at that point where he's been a doctor for 4 or 5 years at this point. And it's kind of the okay. Because here's the thing. He's at that point where his best friend is in college figuring out who he is.
Vinny?
But Doogie's been to college years ago. He decided on a career, but he's starting to feel lost. And maybe a little confused. Like a normal 18, 19-year-old kid.
And then he experiences all this on the Jenny Jones show because all of a sudden the audience starts yelling at him and asking him weird questions.
Yeah, it was so. I thought it was a dream sequence at first.
Oh, it totally felt like a dream sequence, like a soap opera or something. You know, on the soap opera they would get.
It felt. You know what it felt like? It felt like those dream sequences Annie would have about the Jerry Springer show on Sunset Beach.
Yes. All right. So if you've never seen the soap opera Sunset Beach, there's a character on there. Her name was Annie Douglas. She was kind of like she was the Heather Locklear type person of the show. She was the bitch. She was mean to everybody. But you were supposed to relate to her in some weird way. And she would have these weird dream sequences.
Nobody loved her.
Yeah. And she would have these weird dream sequences that she was like on a talk show. She would be on like the Lisa Gibbons show. She'd be on Jerry Springer. She'd be on, I don't know, what else was big around that? Geraldo.
Yeah.
Donahue. They must have done every talk show that it was around in the mid-90s.
Yeah, if there was a talk show, Annie probably had a dream sequence about it.
All right, so the audience is yelling at Doogie Howser now. They're just, when they say, let's ask, the audience has questions, and they're just asking crazy-ass questions.
Did you write any of the questions down? Because I didn't.
No, I should have.
Yeah, it just feels like a dream sequence, and then you find out later that it was real.
Yeah, well, because they cut to the theme song, and then they come back to the show, and it's just kind of like in the show. And I was like, oh, it must have been a dream sequence. This probably didn't happen. It was just probably a weird cold open. But then, like, halfway through the show, they reference it, though. So I'm like, oh, it was real.
Well, because once the theme song is done, very comforting theme song that is the Doogie Howser theme, you open on Vinny is in Doogie's apartment trying to write his next screenplay. And he has the ultimate writer's block, so he does everything people do when they have writer's block. You start to avoid even thinking about writing, and you start cleaning the house. You start doing ridiculous stuff. And you're like, oh, once I get this done, I can start writing, and it'll come to me once I scrub out this oven, or once I clean all these windows, or once I sharpen these 300 pencils that I, for some reason, have.
I have a question. All right. So I'm not too overly familiar with the show. I've seen episodes here and there. Is it established in a previous episode that Vinny wants to pursue being a television or a movie writer?
Yes, that is like Vinny's thing. That's what he's going to college for. Okay.
It just seems kind of like something that just propped up in this episode, but I wasn't really sure.
Yeah.
All right, so going back to Jenny Jones for a bit. So have you ever been an audience member at a talk show?
Yes, I have.
Which talk show?
It was called The Pat Bullard Show, I believe. It was actually in, I'm going to say, 1996. Sometime around there, when I was still living in New Jersey in high school. Like, journalism class got to go to see two tapings of the show. It was like our field trip for like TV production kind of thing.
Okay.
And there was this guy named Pat Bullard. Kind of funny. The show didn't last very long. I thought it was actually a decent talk show, but he interviewed like celebrities. Like he had, oh my God, I'm blanking. Kelly Rutherford.
Okay, she's from Melrose Place and Gossip Girl.
Yes, this is of course back when she was on Melrose Place as Michael's wife, the former hooker. And Tyson was on.
Mike Tyson?
No, Tyson Beckford.
Oh, okay. I'm like, Mike Tyson? You saw Mike Tyson?
And I think there was like a comedian named Kevin Meaney.
Okay, I know that name.
There were other people, I just don't remember who, because it's been almost a really long time. I don't want to think about how long that's been. Oh my God.
Do they ever break out into the audience? Did the audience ask questions to the guests? Or was it kind of like the Tonight Show where they were just like you laughed and clapped?
Yeah, it was kind of you laugh and clap kind of thing. Like the camera would pan to the audience. Like I remember a few months later when the shows finally aired, trying to watch to see if I could see me and my friends in the audience.
Did you make the cut?
I think there was one point. Of course, this was before like TiVo where you could pause it.
Oh, like if you tape recorded it on a VHS and you hit pause, the screen would get blurry?
I apparently did not have a VHS that worked at that time.
What? In
fact,
1996, Kelly Rutherford, Melrose Place time, you didn't have a VCR?
We had a VCR, but it didn't record.
Okay, so you had one of those like...
It was like an old VCR. It was like one of the VCRs from like 1984. So it was kind of old at this point. Dying out.
Did it eject, like you hit the eject button and the top would open up? It was like a top loader?
No.
Oh.
No, it wasn't a top loader.
So it was, you just stuck it in?
Old VCR that needs to be replaced. Because I actually remember a few months late, like for Christmas, I got a VCR. Because I remember I used the VCR to record the first episode of Sunset Beach.
Okay. Tying it back together.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I think the show actually aired before. Like maybe in like November, we were home for like Thanksgiving. I just remember watching in my room being like, oh, do I see me and Tyler and whoever? I don't even remember these boys' names. They were older. But they were like the only guys in my class I liked to talk to.
Where was the show filmed?
My grade. So.
Where was the show filmed?
It was filmed at the WPIX studios in New York City.
Oh, wow. So you got to cross the bridge and go to NYC.
Oh, yes, of course. We took a lot of field trips into New York City.
Like art museums and stuff?
Yeah, I went to the Metropolitan Museum of Art a couple of times. We went to Ellis Island. We went to the Broadway shows. Oh.
Sounds enthralling. So anyway, the only reason why I thought they selected Jenny Jones as a talk show host funny was because I was in a law class one time. I don't know why. For some reason, I just randomly decided to take a law class. Like it was kind of like an elective. I just like, I'm going to take this class. It's probably going to be fun and interesting. And we had this major assignment. It pretty much was like the term paper. Mm-hmm. And it had to do with media and like trials. And everyone in the class had to pick a different trial that we had to go up and present it. And I must have been absent one day, or maybe I just skipped the class. I don't know what. But I showed up. Everyone had their trial. So, like, everyone had the obvious ones, like the OJ trial. And I got stuck with the Jenny Jones trial, which I didn't know about it at all at the time. So I guess there's an episode of Jenny Jones that aired in 1995 called...
It didn't air. It never aired.
Oh, it never aired?
No, the only time parts of that episode aired were on Court TV.
Oh,
when they were
okay.
discussing the episode or, like, showing the stuff in the trial.
Okay, so it was taped in 1995. It was called Same-Sex Secret Crushes. And I guess there was some guy, he went on the show and he, like, confessed love for, like one of his coworkers. Yeah. And on the show, the guy, like, was laughing at it. He thought it was funny. And he went along with it. But then 3 days after the show taped, the person who was, he had his love confessed to him, he killed the man.
Yeah.
And then he was later convicted of second-degree murder, and he went into jail for like 50 years or something like that.
Yeah, he's in for a long, long time.
But then, I guess, so now then there was like a civil trial, and I guess, I can't remember, it's been so long since, it's like been 15 years since I wrote this paper, but...
The victim's family sued the Jenny Jones show.
So this was in the mid-90s. And I guess they won. So Jenny Jones show had to drop like $25 million or something like that.
Yeah, but then a court of appeals said no.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. You would think I would remember all this?
It's like right before the show, so...
I remember writing this paper. This is probably like 2000 or 2001. So like, I don't even know. Like Google probably wasn't really around. And if it was around, it was just not the way it is today, where you can just type in something and easily find articles about this. The only like information I can find was through like page 6 gossip. like page 6 like columns. Like I just couldn't find anything. And then like they were like just transcribing what happened on Court TV. So that was like all my sources for this paper. Drove me nuts. And I was like, I am never, like, I've seen the Jenny Jones show. I'm like, I'm never watching this show again. Then I think it got canceled like a year later. Like the paper, we had to like write it in installments, and it was like, it took like a month to write it all. And I just remember I hated it.
Oh, I hate that. I hated that in college.
So I would just go on.
Here, we're going to write our paper in installments. It's the only way this professor can prove you didn't burn it out the night before papers due.
And you know what? I pretty much did churn it out the night before because I just changed, like, I just, like, casually did, like, research throughout the month. And then at the end, I just rewrote the whole thing, like, off the cuff.
Yeah.
But there was just no information that I could find about this trial at the time. And it was so hard. And I had to, like, you had to find, like, we had to go into some weird kind of like database through the library and try to find sources through there. And it was the only thing that ever came up was like page 6 in the New York Post or something.
Oh, I hate doing that kind of research. That was always the worst because you either got stuff that was just way over your head because it would be like a scholarly journal, or you'd get just newspaper articles that said nothing.
You would read like a 4-page article and you would get like maybe like a half paragraph of like what you're looking for, but you needed more information.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it was with like almost every paper I did for my theater classes. My teacher would be like, you have to use this database to search for these kinds of articles. And it was just always so difficult to find the information that you needed.
That is precisely what this article was like. There was like, you had to use this database for this, for like a primary source, this one for a secondary source. And I just remember, like, I was like, why is fucking page 6 the only thing that's coming up? Why?
Because this was like hot entertainment news. And
it wasn't even like a full article. It was just like, kind of almost like a blind item that's only like a paragraph long.
Yeah, it would just be like that little bit that Liz Smith would drop or whatever.
Yeah, and it'd be like, here's a shot of Jenny Jones walking into court. And I'm like, I can't use that.
That doesn't help me.
Yeah, I'm like, in 1998, Jenny Jones went in a blazer, like a white blazer, into the courtroom, and she looked spectacular.
Oh, Jenny Jones.
And Jenny Jones is 69 years old.
Yes, she is.
I didn't realize she was that old. I thought in the 90s, I thought she was like in maybe her early 30s, like our age now.
Yeah.
But she was already like menopausal by that point.
I hope to God I look as good as Jenny Jones when I'm older.
Oh, she just, I was, all right, so she was born on June 7th, 1946. She's a Canadian American, but she has kind of a questionable background.
I'm not sure I'd say it's questionable.
Well, there's a lot is not known about it because they don't know where she was born. She could have been born in either Jerusalem or Bethlehem.
Yeah.
Her father was a Polish army officer in the British Armed Forces at the time of Jones's birth. So, like, all her records are just missing.
Yeah, that seems to be what it's like. I don't remember, were we in Jerusalem or were we in Bethlehem? I don't know, darling.
Plus, it's post-World War II, so all those it's just like Europe is in shambles following World War II. Mm-hmm. And, like, they just didn't keep track of it at all.
Yeah, exactly.
But some other fun facts about Jenny Jones. She was a drummer in a rock band in the 70s. Then she was
a rock band?
It doesn't say. Maybe just like a shitty, probably like a cover band or something. Then she was a stand-up comedian in the 80s.
Okay.
She's been a contestant on multiple game shows, including The Price is Right, Match Game, and Press Your Luck.
Oh, wow.
And now she has JennyCanCook.com. It's just like a cooking website.
Ooh, I'm going there tomorrow when I get on my Wi-Fi.
And she has a YouTube channel, and I guess she's probably kind of like a Rachel Ray-ish, I guess.
And she's probably doing the, like, lifestyle sort of thing.
Like Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah, but probably cooler, because Gwyneth Paltrow's lifestyle stuff.
Maybe she should start a Thanksgiving Day blog.
That's what she should do. She should start a Thanksgiving blog. All year round, nothing but Thanksgiving.
All right, hold on. Let me just Google that real quick, just to see Thanksgiving blog. I just want to know, because if not, we're starting one. There's livingwiththanksgiving.com, but it hasn't been updated since 2014. Actually, I lied. It was just updated the other day. I was looking at an old post. It's not even a real post. It's like a Pray for Paris post.
Oh.
But it's a dumb blog. It just shows you how to like set tables and stuff like that.
Okay, so it wouldn't be cool like ours. Ours would have like recipes and TV specials and movies
and cartoons.
Basically, it would be like a very special podcast blog. That it would just be about Thanksgiving.
Oh, there's also ThanksgivingBlog.wordpress.com. That hasn't been updated since 2010. And
okay.
I see lots of posts about God, so I'm just gonna quickly back out of that. Then there's the Thanksgiving archives. I see a picture of a turkey and some pumpkins. Different colored pumpkins. Okay. Yeah, these are definitely totally like major lifestyle blogs. My Thanksgiving Day blog would be much more fun than this. Mm-hmm. It would be like 365 days of Garfield's Thanksgiving.
It's 365 days? Can't we do it just like once a week?
Alright. Yeah, okay. Like we post once a week?
52 weeks a year.
Alright, 52 blog posts about Garfield's Thanksgiving.
Or whatever other cool Thanksgiving things you can come up with. Like the Facts of Life reunion movie.
Did that take place on Thanksgiving?
Yes, it did.
That's a great idea. We should just do a Thanksgiving Day only blog. All right.
We'll do a Halloween only podcast a Thanksgiving-only blog.
And then a Christmas coffee book, like a Christmas coffee table book.
Oh, that would be amazing.
All right, that'll be coming out next week. We'll talk about that next week because we're
We'll add it to the list of spin-offs.
It's Christmas season, but we need kind of like a reprieve before we get full-blown Christmas on your asses.
Yeah, we wanted to just not like inundate you with Christmas.
But we will next week.
We go a little overboard for Halloween.
Yeah, we kind of like Christmas and Halloween are kind of like we just go nuts. Like that's the only reason why we want to do this podcast.
I've actually watched almost everything we were planning for Christmas already.
I have not, only because I like to do it one at a time, because I'm a one at a time kind of guy.
Oh, yes, but I have more time on my hands.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you're well prepared, because I'm never prepared.
So I was trying to like get prepared and be like ready to go. So.
All right. So, where are we in this episode of Doogie Howser? We just made it past the opening credits.
Yeah, we made it to Vinny cleaning Doogie's apartment. I just want to point out that Vinny does not actually live at Doogie's apartment. He lives in the college dorm. But he came over to Doogie's apartment to write his script because he couldn't concentrate in the dorm.
Does Vinny not have a computer at his dorm? Maybe he used Doogie's Mac?
I mean, it's 1993, so probably not.
And he just didn't want to hang on the library? Maybe it's a little more...
Well, he just didn't want to, be... Okay, do you remember how noisy the dorms were in college?
Loud?
They were loud. There were people all the time in the hallway. At least, okay, when I was in college, I lived in the dorms for 2 years. First year, I lived all girls, and every day, there was a group of girls who would sit at the end of the hallway at the big picture window that looked out onto the quad, and they were just there I don't even know if these girls ever went to class. Probably not, because I don't think I saw them the next year.
I never went to class.
But, yeah, I don't think these girls ever went to class. If you're listening to this, I'm sorry, girls. I do love you. I still love you.
I never went to class.
They were just always there. There were always people, in the hall. This building was nice. Well, it was nice that it had, a couch at the end of the hall so that people could sit there. And there was a big window that looked out onto the quad. But the building I lived in the next year was a co-ed building. And the way it was set up, there were, stairwells at the end of each hallway. And there were, those doors, those big, heavy, doors, fire doors or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. So if the building caught on fire, the fire wouldn't continue to destroy the building.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, there was no, natural light in our hallway. Not at all. It was always dark. The lights were always, half on. And, we still always hung out in the hall. We had this weird little, group where, a bunch of us would have our doors open. And we'd be coming in and out, or we'd be in the hallway. There were times where, all the girls would be in the hall, and all the boys would be in one of the rooms. And the boys would start blasting music, so we'd start blasting music, or vice versa, So it was just always loud. Even, when quiet hours were happening.
I'm picturing... You have the boys on one side, the girls on the other side. I'm picturing West Side Story right here for some reason. like a confrontation about to happen.
It was it wasn't even the building I lived in. It was they had the suite rooms where you shared a bathroom. There'd be two rooms, so 4 girls or 4 boys in one bathroom. And it would go boys, girls, boys, girls, boys, girls, boys. until like the end of the hallway.
Scandalous.
There were other co-ed buildings on campus where it was like girls on the first floor, boys on the top.
I know what boys like. So this is why Vinny wanted to get the hell out of his dorm room.
Oh yeah.
And
I could never get homework done in the dorm.
so I guess it's very fortunate for Vinny's sake that he has a friend who is stinking rich from being a doctor and has his own apartment. And he can just go over there and chill, try to write, but can't. So just basically cleans his apartment for him, sharpens all his pencils.
Yeah, he like scrubbed that apartment clean.
So I guess, that's not that bad idea of him, I guess.
Yeah.
So Doogie is grateful for that, but meanwhile, Doogie's at work and he's just kind of going into depression, basically.
He's in a rut.
He's having a midlife crisis and he's only like 19 years old.
Yeah, well, okay, well, you've heard of a quarter life crisis, right?
Yes, but I feel like what Doogie was experiencing was more than a quarter life crisis, because usually a quarter life crisis...
it's probably more like a midlife crisis, because his life was so accelerated.
Yeah, because your quarter life crisis is you realize that you haven't really done anything yet.
Uh-huh.
And then you're like 50 and you realize that you haven't done anything yet. And so I feel like that Doogie is just like, he's worked for 5 years and he's just excelled
and it wasn't even that he just worked, it's that he was either, like when he was really young, he was sick, or he was going at hyperspeed through school.
And he missed out on everything. He
started working.
He missed out on everything. He didn't play with toys. He didn't really watch...
It's not like he was sitting there studying Latin and then he went and played He-Man with Vinny or something.
No, he was studying Latin and then studying Latin more and learning everything else. And then he was like working when he was 14 years old, and not at, like, he wasn't delivering pizzas. He was like in a career.
Yeah, he was in a full-time, super stressful job.
I mean, he was saving lives. It was very rewarding for him. But, like, something was missing. So, in this episode, though, a lot doesn't really happen, though. Like, there's not, like, a major plot twist or anything like that. It's just him experiencing life. Like, he deals with his parents who are just, like, still pushing him to be a doctor.
Yeah. He can't exactly place what's wrong with him just yet until they go to the acting class for the second time.
Oh, yeah, so Doogie, like, he has to act out a scene. And what was the scene that he did originally?
It was something from Shakespeare.
And he did, like, kind of like a horrible job at it. Like, he wasn't really...
Yeah, he was just off. It was just awful.
It was like he just randomly picked that scene, just like I got randomly assigned the Jenny Jones paper for my law class. Like
it's like, okay, here, do the Shakespeare scene. But the thing is, Doogie has never acted. And of course he thought, oh, it's just acting, I can do it. But acting is not just going out and saying, out damn spot. It's, you have to put emotion into it.
And he didn't really connect with the material either. It wasn't something that
he didn't connect with the material. Like, he might understand it as literature, but he doesn't understand it as a performance.
And so the theater teacher was just kind of, she was not impressed with it. It was just kind of like, next.
Yeah, she was just not having it. She was like, okay, Vinny, you try.
And Vinny went in,
like, nailed it.
Vinny knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
What did he do? What Vinny did?
He did the exact same scene. He just got it. He knew how to perform. He knew how to do Shakespeare.
He did the same scene?
Yeah, he did the exact same scene.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, that's how night and day the difference was.
I just didn't even, I knew there were, Doogie was doing Shakespeare, but I just didn't realize that Vinny went up and did the same thing.
Yeah.
So then Doogie kind of wanted like a do-over.
Yeah.
And he kind of went up and he kind of like spoke from the heart, basically is what he did.
No, it was the next class that happened.
But he went back up, but it wasn't the same day though, right?
No, he goes out. The teacher's like, find something that means something to you.
So then he had like a whole day. So he goes back to his house, and his parents are kind of like pushing him to still be a doctor. Then he goes, he's at work, and he's not really connecting with the job anymore either.
Yeah.
He just can't quite grasp it. I think like Nurse Spalding is just kind of like, hey Doogie, like she gets her one scene and she's like, hey Doogie, like what's bugging you? And he's like,
Yeah.
So then what does Doogie, does he just make something up on the fly on the stage, or is like
No. I think it's a poem he finds about lost childhood. Like it's just a poem. Like he was just going through some like books or something. And he found this poem, and like something about it spoke to him. He doesn't understand what right away though.
Until he's on stage, like I think it hits him on stage.
He's on stage, and he kind of gets a little bit out of his head, and like releases himself into the piece. If that makes any sense. Like it makes sense to me the way I'm saying it, but I don't know if it'll make sense to you.
No. But
okay, Doogie.
I think the teacher was like really impressed by it, but in like when I was watching it though, I was still kind of like, I knew what was happening, but I honestly didn't really see the difference between his Shakespeare speech and that poem that he read.
Yeah, there's a difference. It's just the Shakespeare is very technical and dull, and the worst thing that you can do to Shakespeare is just read it, not perform it.
But I feel like Neil Patrick Harris didn't, like the way that he read the poem and the way he did Shakespeare, he kind of did it similar. And I think we were
maybe.
I think we were supposed to be impressed by the poem, but it didn't really I didn't get this like feeling like, wow, like Doogie Howser is really struggling here. But it's the music that was playing made it like it seemed like that. I don't know. It's just the way the scene was played out.
Yeah, I think the poem is really there to like kind of click with Doogie that he feels that he's missing something, and it's that childhood and that exploration that he didn't have.
And he has kind of like a reawakening after he reads this poem.
It's like he knows what's wrong now, and now he can figure out what he wants to do about it.
And he basically decides that he wants to quit being a doctor.
Yeah, he decides that he needs to take some time off. And he's with his parents, and they spin a globe, and wherever his finger lands, that's where he's going to go.
And it was like, was it Europe? Or like, was it a specific country?
It was Rome.
Rome, okay.
It was specifically Rome.
And then he's just going to go there.
Vinny's going to go with him.
And just rediscover his life. And then I think his doctor boss, like his boss at the doctor, is just like, you know what, Doogie, that's a great idea. Why don't you take a year off? Just kind of like rediscover yourself.
Go on sabbatical, come back, you'll be fresh, you'll be raring to go. It's like you're young, we don't want you to burn out.
Yeah, like take this time. We expect someone who's like 55 years old to burn out and then retire, but you still have like 30 more years to go before you hit that point.
Exactly.
So they let him do it young. And sorry, so Doogie has a girlfriend in the show?
Yeah.
She
kind of like doesn't matter though. Can we be real? She really doesn't matter.
So his girlfriend is Robin Lively from Teen Witch. And all right, so this is my favorite scene of the whole episode. For some reason, this is the only scene I remember other than the Jenny Jones scene.
Okay.
So Doogie, I guess he's saying goodbye to his girlfriend. His girlfriend's name is Michelle. And so they're standing in a room. I guess it's supposed to be like a romantic evening. They're standing up like kind of facing each other, like half making out. And there's like 30 candles lit around them. Like,
Oh my god.
so it's Doogie's like last night in the States before he flies off to Europe. So I guess he decides to get extra romantic and just light 30 candles in this like dimly lit room.
Light every candle he can find for like a 10-block radius.
It looks like a scene from like the Addams Family or something. I haven't or like the Munsters where they don't have.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Do you remember the candles in the Burb? All
Yes.
those candles.
That's okay. That's what I'm thinking. Like it's like a spooky house.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no like lights on or like it's dark except for 30 candles are lit.
Yeah.
And they're all close to each other, but they're kind of like in groups, so they're like spread out but close to each other. And Doogie and Michelle are like in the middle of them, like standing up in the room. There's like no chairs or a bed or anything or a couch. They're just standing up in this room, like facing each other, and then like they're like holding each other. They're like they kiss for like a few minutes, but then they just start talking, but they're still like holding each other.
Yeah.
And I don't understand like why it's like that. Why aren't they at dinner? Maybe at like a romantic dinner.
I don't know because maybe they already had dinner.
Yeah, then they go home
Maybe
and
they
light
already
30
had
candles.
dinner, and Doogie's looking for a little something before he leaves the country with Vinny.
But you know what? I feel like I've seen other episodes of Doogie Howser where the same thing is going on, where he's in a room with like 30 candles lit. Or I might be thinking of soap operas. I have no idea.
Probably soap operas, probably sort of Friends where Chandler and Monica get engaged.
Is your 30 candles lit?
There was like a million candles in that room.
Okay.
Anytime there's candles on TV, it can't be like, it's like a candle store threw up in there.
It's not like a Yankee candle. It's always those like long like stick candles, like the Thanksgiving candles.
Yeah, they're like the pillar candles. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
They're on some
Like the table
fancy
candles,
like candelabra.
and then there's, like, the big stick candles. Yeah.
And they're kind of like on one of those like Hanukkah things where there's like multiple and like one little like stack. And then they're different.
Yeah,
there are different levels. It's like some are low, some are high.
Okay, now I will say I love candles, but I would not burn like 30 million candles in my home all at once.
No. What if one fell over and then knocked them all over?
You're fucked. You're fucked.
Like, what if things got really rowdy at the Hauser apartment and he like knocked one like lamp over and then knocked all the other ones over, and that place would just go up in flames.
Exactly. They'd be done.
That's the end of Doogie Howser. But
Would have been.
Instead, Doogie Howser blows out all the candles and gets on a plane to Rome.
Well, first he goes to the hospital and he gets like the last of his things from his locker or whatever. And there's that moment where he's saying goodbye to like his bestie, the nurse, and the orderly. And they're like, well, we're going to miss you. Send us a postcard, blah, blah, blah. And they're in the middle of saying goodbye when an emergency comes in. There's a moment where Doogie has that reaction that he's supposed to be in with them, working on this patient, but he's not. He realized this isn't his job anymore.
He's like, peace out. There was a moment, though, where I thought like he was just going to jump back into it, though.
Yeah, I was sure. Like, his natural reaction was to jump in, and he had to stop himself.
But, all right, so they wrote this episode. They didn't think it was going to be the final episode.
Yeah, this was supposed to be the start of the final arc for Doogie Howser. The final plan was to have Doogie leave medicine and take up writing.
And then maybe come back to it at the end? Like, come back to medicine?
And maybe we find out, maybe he goes back, maybe he doesn't. Now we don't know.
Yeah, so they just kind of... It just kind of ends on this way, like, Doogie's just like, I'm done.
It ends with Doogie and Vinny on the plane. And Doogie has his laptop out. He's starting a new journal, and he's like, I've been Doogie Howser, now it's time to be just Doogie.
And then they just kind of end scenes right there.
That's where it ends, yeah.
You wanna hear something really cool?
Okay.
All right, so there's a guy from New York City who became almost the real life Doogie Howser. He got his medical license when he was 17 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to figure out when this was.
It was only a few years ago.
Was it?
Yeah. I've read about this. This guy hates being compared to Doogie Howser. Like, he hates it.
He's an Indian American.
Then there's a girl who's like a couple years older, and she became a doctor at like 19. She's been compared to Doogie Howser as well, and she seems to be handling it better.
Oh yeah, Sho Yano. Okay.
Yeah.
There
was like a type of mice, genetically modified mice that they named Doogie after
mice?
Doogie Howser. So you know.
Wow. Doogie Howser is such a strange concept for shows. Like it definitely was kind of like, in a way, it set up Ally McBeal. Because I believe it's written by David Kelly has an affiliation with Doogie Howser.
Yes, David E. Kelly is one of the creators.
I
think he really only worked on the pilot, but he got to keep the creator credit for like the whole time.
Okay, well, because this show definitely has kind of like a weird Ally McBeal kind of vibe to it, where Ally McBeal was kind of like a drama, but it dabbled in comedy, and it was kind of like told from.
What were those other? Didn't David E. Kelly also do The Practice and Boston Legal?
Yes.
Okay, I think the only episodes of The Practice I ever watched were the ones with James Spader.
Like the final season.
Like the final ones. Like I think they just happened to be on one Sunday night, and I left the TV on while I was doing homework or something. And I love James Spader's character. And then William Shatner was on, so I loved the first couple seasons of Boston Legal, and then for some reason I stopped watching.
I think everybody stopped watching Boston Legal after a couple seasons.
I think there was a point where I was just like, this is just a little too weird for me. Does
David E. Kelly still make TV shows? I feel like he's kind of like out of the game now.
I want to say he's got something.
Hold on, let me see if I can find out the last thing he's done. Oh, he did that show.
I can't.
He did that that Robin Williams and Sarah Michelle Gellar show.
Oh yes. Oh my God, what was that show called?
The Crazy Ones.
Yes, The Crazy Ones. My friend Ryan loved that show. I tried to watch it. I just got to the point where I was like, nope, too weird.
It basically.
Robin Williams, and I fucking love Sarah Michelle Gellar, but no.
Robin Williams was just way too over the top on that show. He basically was just like Robin Williams, like an elderly Robin Williams, still trying to be like a younger Robin Williams. Sarah Michelle Gellar, she just never like, I don't know, she kind of like sucks at comedy.
I think it was just a weird setup, the way it all went together.
I don't know, I've never gotten into anything other than Buffy and maybe Cruel Intentions, but just like everything else she does is just kind of
You mean you never saw her on Swan's Crossing, the greatest teen soap ever?
I remember the show, but I never, like, I know she was on it, and I remember watching the show, but I just never, like, really knew it was her.
Yeah, she was my everything in 5th grade. Like, Sarah Michelle Gellar as Sydney Rutledge was, like, my goddess.
But, like, I know Buffy had, like, comedy elements, but I guess it's just, like, the way the show was written and directed, it worked. And anytime she's ever tried to, like, branch out in comedy with another writing or directing team, it just never comes across funny at all.
Yeah. So David E. Kelly, he's still making stuff. The thing is, he makes stuff that's just a little. You gotta be ready for the weird.
Oh wow! It says that Sarah Michelle Gellar was born in my hometown, Plymouth, Mass.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, I never knew that. For some reason, I don't believe that, though. Because they spelled mass M-A-A. I'm looking at Wikipedia. You know, that's not a great source.
Well, you know.
Oh, well. So, overall, what did you think of Doogie Howser?
What?
Overall, what did you think of Doogie Howser?
Here's the thing about Doogie Howser now. When I watch it, I would watch it late at night on like Antenna TV or whatever one of those old TV channels are. I would watch it like right after the Newhart episode. That's how I discovered this episode. And I told you this. I thought it was like another episode and this episode combined. So I thought this episode was way more interesting than it actually was.
Yeah, see, I thought this episode, it was a good episode, but it didn't work as a finale. Like, it didn't have a finale kind of vibe to it.
It definitely did not have that finale, like, we are done. You expect to find out next that Doogie Howser is in Rome. Like, I expected the next episode I watched to be Doogie Howser in Rome with Vinny.
Like a 1 or 2 episode arc of, like, him in Rome, maybe, and then, like, realizing he made a horrible mistake and he has to go back.
Yeah, well, realizing, like, being a doctor is his calling, but maybe he needs a little more balance in his life.
Yeah, some hobbies or something. Maybe he just kind of...
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe work part-time for a little while, but no, the episode just kind of, like, ends here, so you kind of left wondering what happened.
And, like, I seriously thought the next episode I was going to see Vinny and Doogie in Rome, and then it was just the first episode again. I had to go look it up to find out what the heck happened. But I still thought it was the finale, that this episode that was the finale and the episode before one episode.
Yeah.
This is what happens when I watch TV late at night.
Well, because you kind of, like, fall asleep for a little bit, and then you kind of wake up, and
yeah,
you
and
just
you know
can't.
what? I would change the channel. I would put on the news for a minute or something. Or it'd be like one of those irritating commercials on the cheap channels, like the prostate pills. And I'm like, I really don't need to see this commercial. You change the channel. And you come back, and that same commercial's still on. Or it's on again, and you're just like, oh, my God. So you don't realize that... And it didn't in my head. For some reason, didn't really think that Doogie was a half-hour show. Like, in my head, it was an hour, not a half hour.
See, I always remembered it being a half hour, so that's just kind of strange. Like, I in my mind, I always, like, remember it as being a comedy, but then I watch it, and I'm like, no, it's more serious than a comedy.
Yeah.
And there's not jokes in it. There's no, like, quippy comments or comebacks or anything. Like, it's just kind of like...
Vinny's really your comic relief.
Yeah, none of the other characters... Like, Doogie's not funny. He's, like, not humorous at all. He's, like, kind of serious.
Yeah.
Maybe the orderly cracks jokes here and there.
Yeah, maybe...
But that's about it. Like, Doogie's is pretty serious. And Vinny is just kind of, like...
Yeah.
Like, you're, like, his dumb friend.
Well, he's like your normal person.
He's like the talking parrot.
Yeah.
Like, if this was a cartoon, he would be like the talking animal.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly who Vinny would be.
So I think we survived Doogie Howser's last day of being a doctor.
Yes, we did.
And now we're about to dive headfirst into Christmas.
Yes, we are. What are we watching next, Patrick?
I believe next week. All right, so I've been talking about this for a while. And I've just been saying we have to do this. I would probably say for a year now. So we're finally doing this episode. From the early, like, it's from the second or third season of Beverly Hills 90210. It's the episode's
third season. It is the third season.
Third season. So all this time I thought it was like a first season episode, so I could not find it. But it's called Totally Happening Life. It's basically like It's a Wonderful Life told through the eyes of 90210 characters.
Yeah, it's basically the West Beverly Hills High Gang. It's a Wonderful Life.
And it's the strangest episode of 90210 ever, and I just can't wait to talk about this.
Oh my God, neither can I. You can find it on
Hulu.
Hulu Plus. It's the Hulu Plus one. They only have
Okay.
the first season for free.
So you have to have a major
Also find
subscription.
this is where I found it for free. I found it on YouTube for free from CBS.
Great. So this episode will link to everywhere it is. I definitely will connect to this more than I connected to Doogie Howser. And I don't know, then we have some other fun Christmas things coming, but we'll just go through it one by one right now with you. So join us next week when we watch 90210's Totally Happening Life. And I don't know, just get ready for whatever happens. And I guess, as always, until next time.